Welcome back to another edition of Coffee Time with TD. Move over, Rover, and let TD take over. Be good or be good at it. God is great, always in always. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. You know it is my favorite day of the week because we get busy, and I always try to bring you a wee bit of a special video on my favorite day of the week. So, MAGA Nation has got their panties in a knot because President Donald Trump's Justice Department, Pam Bondi, has come out and said there is no Epstein client list, which I can tell you factually is a lie, but we don't need to rehash that again. The free-range chickens, the donkeys like Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Laura Loomer, etc., some of my favorite free-range chickens have their panties in a knot because of the Epstein client list basically being wiped from existence. Let me tell you this. I told you back in June, or hell, even May, let it go. Let it go. You're never going to see it. You're never going to see it. Everything isn't for everybody. And I can tell you factually that there was a lot of perverse shit going on back then. If you weren't at the Eyes Wide Shut party out on Long Island, well, there was a reason why you weren't there. Because everything isn't for everybody. And there was a lot of perverse, sick shit going on. And I can tell you that factually, full stop, end of. And I just told you to move on. You're not ever going to find out. Not ever. Ever. And you can talk about who's on the list, who's not on the list, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, etc., etc. You're never going to know. I told you back in June or even May when I started the channel, let it go. And then you have donkeys, Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Fox News, even CNN, Aaron Burnett, etc., all going on about now there is no Epstein client list. And he didn't, there was no murder. Epstein wasn't clipped. Let it go. Everything isn't for everybody. You're never going to know what happened because you weren't there. That's it. Everything isn't for everybody. You weren't there. And nobody's going to talk about it. No one. There was a lot of perverse, repugnant, reprehensible, disgusting, vile behavior going on in the late 90s, early 2000s. Again, Eyes Wide Shut party out on Long Island. If you weren't there, then you weren't there. Everything isn't for everybody. And just like those Hillary emails that were wiped from existence, right? The Benghazi emails. Well, this has been wiped from existence too. And Epstein getting clipped, listen, just so happened that he committed suicide, the camera was off, and the security guards, the prison guards were away, right? They were on their coffee break, their donut break, whatever, right? Let it go. It's over. Move on. And I do agree with what President Donald Trump said yesterday at the press conference when he got all agitated and talking about, when the question was asked to Pam Bondi about the Epstein client list, right? Trump was right. Move on. Something I told you to do in May and June of last year. Move on. Everything isn't for everybody. If you weren't there, then you weren't there. If you weren't at the Eyes Wide Shut party out on Long Island, you weren't there. That's it, full stop, end of. Move on. Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, the rest of those fucking donkeys out there, free-range chickens, Aaron Burnett, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC. I don't give a shit who it is. Move on. It's over. Just like the Benghazi emails have been wiped from existence, well, so is this. And I told you back in May and June, You're never going to see it. You never will. It's not for you. Everything isn't for everybody. And that's the truth. I know that for a fact. And those of you who know me know that I know that for a fact. Back in May and June, I told you would never see them. Everything isn't for everybody. Just because you're some donkey out there screaming Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Laura Loomer, this, that, whatever, and blah, 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 and yelling and pounding your fists and everything else, it's not for you. It's not for you. Move on. Just like President Donald Trump said, and I told you back in May and June, move on. It's over. Start thinking about other things. Forget about it. It's over. You'll never see that because it's not for you. If you weren't there, then you weren't there. And nobody's ever going to talk about it. Move on. Love you.